Hello book lovers, welcome to Uncommon Reader. I'm Daniela and today I'm keeping you company with the Quick to Judge tag. Originally created a few years ago by Ali Rizdal and was recently revived by Jess Book Girl TV. I was recently tagged by Sue Jackson and earlier on by Stuart Griffin. I think this tag was just perfect timing for me because I'm still working on my June TBR. And the first prompt is asking me to pick 5 to 10 unread books from my shelves. And I actually stayed with the lowest number, 5 books. And I don't know if one paragraph will be enough because we are asked to read the first paragraph of every book and rank the books based off the first paragraph and add the highest ranked book to the upcoming TBR. So I think that we'll probably judge by maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs. First of all, let's see what books I picked, and I'm dying to read all these books. So whoever is going to win it's not going to be an issue for me. So I'm looking forward to read all of them. So the first I have here is The Kites by Roman Gary. And this and other books were actually part of my California book haul because they were gifted to me during my latest trip in California. That was around January, February. I did a video on that, so I'll link it. Among those books, there was Immortals with Rules of Civility, and then also The Women by Christine Hanna. The other 2 books I selected, this was a gift by a friend of mine, The Last Runway by Tracy Chevalier. And also I picked this, I actually bought a used bookstore in North Carolina last July, and I'm dying to read Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Hopefully I pronounced it okay. So let's go back to Roman Gary and start reading. We'll see if 1 paragraph will be enough. So nowadays, the little museum in the Cléry devoted to the works of Ambrose Fleury is only a minor tourist attraction. Most of its visitors drift over after lunch at the Clos Joly, a restaurant that guidebooks unanimously praised as one of France's most celebrated landmarks. These same guidebooks note the little museum's existence with the world's worth a side trip. The museum's 5 rooms hold most of my uncle's work, the pieces that survived the war, the occupation, the liberation, fighting, and all the vicissitudes and lassitudes our people has known. Whatever their country of origin, all kites are born in a popular imagination, which is what gives them their slightly naive look. Ambrose Fleury's kites were no exception. Even the final pieces he made in his old age bear that stamp of innocence and that freshness of soul. Despite lagging interest from the slim funding it received from the municipal government, it's unlikely the museum will close its doors anytime soon. It's too much a part of our history. Mostly, though, its rooms are deserted. These days, the French are mostly looking to forget, not to remember. So to give you some background on this book, the kites begin with a young boy, Ludo, coming of age on a small farm in Normandy under the care of his eccentric kite-making uncle Ambrose. Ludo's life changes the day he meets Lila, a girl from the aristocratic Polish family that owns the estate next door. In a single glance, Ludo falls in love forever. And then it goes on, but I don't want to take too much time reading all the books' synopsis. So this is promising. Roman Gary is an author I adore, so I would probably read this soon anyway. So the next one I have in my pile is Americana. And this book is one of the best books of the year that was, I guess, published in the year. The first edition was in 2014. This is a story of two immigrants, Ifemelu and Obinze. They are young and in love when they depart military-ruled Nigeria for the West. Beautiful, self-assured Ifemelu heads for America, where despite her academic success, she is forced to grapple with what it means to be Black for the first time. Quiet, thoughtful Obinze had hoped to join her, but the post-9/11 America closed to him. He instead plunged into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. At once powerful and tender, Americana is a remarkable novel of race, love, and identity by the award-winning writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So one time I said Adichie, one time I said Adiki, so at least one time I'll set it right. Okay, so this is quite long because there is a first paragraph which is like 2 pages and a half. So I'm just going to read until I feel I have a sense of the book. Princeton in the summer smelled of nothing, and although Ifemelu liked the tranquil greenness of the many trees, the clean streets and stately homes, the delicately overpriced shops, and the quiet, abiding air of earned grace, it was this, the lack of a smell, that most appealed to her, perhaps because the other American cities she knew well had all smelled distinctly. Philadelphia had the musty scent of history. New Haven smelled of neglect. Baltimore smelled of brine, and Brooklyn of sun-warmed garbage. But Princeton had no smell. She liked taking deep breaths there. She liked watching the local who drove with pointed courtesy and parked their last model cars outside the organic grocery store on Nassau Street, or outside the sushi restaurants, or outside the ice cream shop that had 50 different flavors, including red pepper, or outside the post office where effusive staff bounded out to greet them at the entrance. Okay, I'll stop here. Cool, I like it. The Last Runway by Tracy Chevalier. Honor Bright is a sheltered Quaker who has rarely ventured out of 1850 Dorset when she impulsively emigrates to America. Opposed to the slavery that defines and divides the country, she finds her principle tested to the limit when a runaway slave appears at the farm of her new family. Honor befriends two spirited women who will teach her how to turn ideas into action. Woohoo! Excited to read Tracy Chevalier. She could not go back. When Honor Bright abruptly announced to her family that she would accompany her sister Grace to America, when she sorted through her belongings, keeping only the most necessary, when she gave all of her quilts, when she said goodbye to her uncle and aunts and kissed her cousin and nieces and nephews, when she got into the coach that would take them to Bridport, when she and Grace linked arms and walked up the gangplank at Bristol, she did all of these things with the unspoken thought, I can always come back. Layered beneath those words, however, was the suspicion that that moment her feet left English soil, Honor's life would be permanently altered. Okay, this is exciting too. Oh, here we go. Christine Hanna, The Women. So this is an historic novel. I believe everyone knows about it. And I love how this synopsis starts. Women can be heroes. When 20-year-old nursing student Frankie McGrath hears these words, it is a revelation. Raised in sun-drenched, idyllic world of Southern California and sheltered by her conservative parents, she has always prided herself on doing the right thing. But in 1965, the world is changing and she suddenly dares to imagine a different future for herself. When her brother ships out to serve in Vietnam, she joins the Army Nurse Corps and follows his path. Coronado Island, California, May 1966. The walled and gated McGrath estate was a world unto itself. protected and private. On this twilight evening, the Tudor-style home's mullioned windows glowed jewel-like amid the lush landscape grounds. Palm fronds swayed overhead. Candles floated on the surface of the pool, and golden lanterns hung from the branches of a large California live oak. Black-clad servers moved along the well-dressed crowd, carrying silver trays full of champagne, while a jazz trio played softly in the corner. 20-year-old Frances Grace McGrath knew what was expected of her tonight. She was to be the very portrait of a well-bred young lady, smiling and serene. Any untoward emotions were to be contained and concealed, borne in silence. The lessons Frankie had been taught at home and at church and at the St. Bernadette's Academy for Girls had instilled in her a rigorous sense of propriety. The unrest going on across the country these days, erupting on city streets and college campuses, was a distant and alien world to her, as incomprehensible as the conflict in faraway Vietnam. I like this. Going from wealth situation into the craziness of war. Oh, I'm saving the best for last, maybe. I don't know. Our Toes, which I loved, with A Gentleman in Moscow, and then the recent book I read from him in January, Lincoln Highway. This book is actually set in New York in 1937. And the protagonist is a 25-year-old Katie Content, is in a second-rate Greenwich Village jazz bar when Tinker Gray, a handsome banker, happens to sit at the neighboring table. This chance encounter and its startling consequences propel her on a year-long journey towards the upper echelons of New York society, where she will have little to rely upon other than a bracing wit and her own brand of cool nerve. High society. Okay, let's find the first paragraph. So this is a preface. On the night of October 1966, Val and I, both in late middle age, attended the opening of Many Are Called at the Museum of Modern Arts, the first exhibit of the portraits taken by Walker Evans in the late 1930s on the New York City subways with a hidden camera. It was what the social columnists like to refer to as a superlative affair. The men were in black tie, echoing the palette of the photographs, and the women wore brightly colored dresses hemmed at every length from the Achilles tendon to the top of the thigh. Champagne was being served off little round trays by young employed actors with the flawless features and the grace of acrobats. Few of the guests were looking at the pictures. They were too busy enjoying themselves. Oh my gosh. Okay, now it's time to rank them. Okay, I've been thinking about it and I have made my choice. I think I'm gonna go with Christine Hanna, and I'll add the women to my June TBR. I mean, I was already dying to read this novel, and by the first two paragraphs, I'm really getting excited to see the protagonist going from a world of luxury into putting herself at risk, volunteering. I believe she's becoming a nurse at one point. Two of my list, I think Americana made an impact, the writing. I think it was very curious to describe Princeton as lack of smell. So I like where she is going, and I think that's going to be my second book that I'll put in my TBR, but not in June. Third, I am going to list Rule of Civility. It's just the style that I love by Amortals that really captures you right away. At number 4, I'm going to pick Tracy Chevalier with The Last Runway. I have been visiting the plantations in North Carolina last summer, And I really wanted to read more about, the terrible time with slavery in America. So I think this will give me a little more information on those decades. And the last but not least, it's The Kites by Roman Gary. It's more like a personal story, and I do like those intimate stories, but I'm always more drawn to books that sort of give me a little more, about an historical era, so you can also learn something and not just be entertained. So I think I accomplished all I had to do, because I added my highest ranked book, which is this one, The Women. But actually, by the look of the story and the writing, for me, these are really comparable, really at the same level. I think you can't judge. You can't give really votes by reading only a couple of paragraphs. So I will let you know once I've read all of them if they are all 5 stars read. So we'll see. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this tag. I will tag a few friends and their names I will add in the info box. And that's it. I will see you soon here on Uncommon Reader. Not sure I'll be able to do one more quick video before I set off to Paris, but hopefully we'll see each other soon. Take care for now. Happy reading and ciao.